Welcome to this presentation of the 2022 Key Trends report entitled Where No Screen Has Gone Before. Hello to all the Trekkies out there. This is our 10th edition already. My name is Catherine Mathys. I'm the Director of the Industry and Market Trends team at the Canada Media Fund, and I'm delighted to be here today. This year's report addresses one essential question. What's here to stay? Needless to say, the pandemic has had a huge impact in our lives, on this industry. And so last year's report helped us understand what those changes were all about. And this year's report will help us understand how some changes are becoming the new normal. And we've added a little something new in the 22 Key Trends report this year. We wanted to go beyond scanning trends, and so we used Foresight methods to help us imagine the future, imagine different possible outcomes. If we know where we want to go, then we can decide what it takes to get there. Or how Yogi Berra would put it, if you don't know where you're going, you might end up somewhere else. Foresight is a tool to help us deal with uncertainty. But let's be clear, there are no predictions in this report, not this one, not ever. It gets much better than that, actually. The insights we can find in this report can help us build the future we choose collectively. So with this report, we were not afraid to look ahead, look way further ahead at what the future could bring to this industry. In this year's Key Trends report, you'll find signals. So those are glimpses of the future that are right here in the present. Trends led by incredible people and ideas right here in Canada, and or obstacles as well that may alter these trends. And then we had a bit of fun. We tried to imagine the future. We put all these ingredients together to create 10-year scenarios. What will our industry look like in 2032? Obviously, these scenarios are meant to be thought-provoking to get the conversation going around the future. I hope you enjoy them as you dive into this report. So we took this recipe and we applied it to 4 different chapters. Audience consumption shifts, the future of entertainment, tomorrow's creative workforce, and future of media economics. On the 2022 Key Trends website, you will find many pieces of content in different formats, audio, video, text, of course, and an interview in the metaverse. Of course, why not go into the metaverse to talk about the metaverse? That's what we did with Harold Dumur, President and CEO of OVA. You'll see he showed us a little bit around the metaverse. Here's a sneak peek. Hi, Harold. Thank you so much for having us in your metaverse here. Very comfy, I have to say. Very nice setting.
Thanks.
Very
Welcome.
lovely. Tell me, what is the metaverse? What's your definition?
So today, both of us are living in what we call the universe. But in this kind of virtual world that we live in, it's all virtual. So that is the metaverse. Being through our avatar there without being there and being connected between each other in some way. We can even, as you can see, do a high five. So let's try it. Here you go. Yeah, and we are sitting on our real chair, but in those virtual chair at the same time. This is why we can be sitting there.
Very COVID friendly.
And the only thing, is that this is something we can do, having some warmth from the fire. This is still you're all sitting yourself. So yeah, this is the metaverse. Welcome.
Thank you so much. We feel like we've been hearing so much about it in the past few months, in the past year, but it's nothing new, is it?
Well, yeah, I mean, there was Second Life. Even before, there was a book called Snow Crash, where you can hear the term metaverse for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
in the
it's
90s, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you know your stuff. Yeah, totally in the 90s.
I try.
And that just come together because technology today are converging. They all come at this point of intersection in time, and with the evolution of computers, of internet speed. So we can, just not have the voice only. Now we have voice, we have avatar, we have polygons. Polygons create 3D, create table that I can move
Oh
seamlessly
yeah.
around us. I can even, go up my chair, move over there, grab this little candle and put it back on the table. There is physics. All
Oh,
that is
it
is
looks
is
heavy.
because yeah, I'm building some muscle here right now. But yeah, I mean, joke aside, it's all due to improvement in internet speed and computer graphic processor unit. So that's why we can enjoy such a
Well, it's
paradigm
very,
shift.
very cozy here. I'd love to visit the rest of this. So, we're in this beautiful setting in the metaverse to talk about the metaverse. A lot of people considered the web to be a joke in the beginning, something that would never last. What do you tell people who think the same thing about the metaverse?
I remember the same people from the web were the same people that didn't know what to do with an iPad or an iPhone. So it's always about user adoption, and that adoption comes from testing the technology, going inside it and living it. Because if you never try VR, or if you never try an immersive or 3D experience, even more, you will not understand what it can bring to you in terms of not only fun, and entertainment and storytelling and all that stuff, but also on the way that iPad gives people a productivity tool. I think that this is also the perfect productivity tool for, prototyping, engineering work, training, because, right now we are all surrounded by virtual reality. So we are really focusing on what we see. We are not distracted by our phone. We're not distracted by our tab or screen or ding dong or whatever that's going to pop in front of our eyes. So the attention level is up the roof, is 92% actually.
You're right.
And when you
You're
look to
right.
a PowerPoint, it's 46%. So that's also something to take in consideration.
When you think about the future of the metaverse, of OVA, what's your biggest dream? What makes you get up in the morning?
Dream will be that people use a software such as ours, StellarX, 2 times a day, and that's minimum. So they are living and they are recurringly returning to it and creating and sharing experience. So this is what make me wake up every day, building that.
So working, learning, and obviously getting entertainment in the metaverse. What could the future of entertainment look like in the metaverse?
Yes, entertainment is what? Is storytelling. When you watch a movie on Netflix, you are given a big story full of action. So think about, the books that we used to read where we can be our own heroes. You will choose a path and it will be different for someone else. And it's the same thing that entertainment will be touched and changed by that. If I decide to go on the door that is on the right, I will live another experience, maybe an experience that is created by an AI, and it is created just for me. Nobody else in the world, in those billions of humans, will have the same experience as me, even if they select the same door. So this is how everything will change. That's the paradigm shift there.
What a great way to end this conversation in the metaverse. I mean, thank you for taking us to summer a little bit. It
Yes.
actually feels even a little warmer than the other setting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for what you're doing and for these
Thanks.
explanations. I'm sure there are very many of us who've never experienced the metaverse who are going to do so for the first time in 2022. So enjoy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you so much.
I hope you enjoyed that trip into the metaverse. Now let's get to it. Let's jump right into the content with Chapter 1 and key audience consumption shifts. In a time where circumstances of the pandemic have imposed distance, audiences have found new ways to come together.
Even behavior often described as a distraction has a deeper meaning when we take a closer look. Second screening has been cited as the result of shorter attention spans. But in order to fully understand this behavior and why it's so prevalent, we must ask ourselves, what are audiences actually trying to achieve? Well, we looked at the data, and smartphones are both the most owned and the most important device as cited by audiences. Overall, the majority of smartphone use is for messaging and social media. So the question here is, if audiences are looking to connect socially at a distance while watching content, how can we as creators help to facilitate or create experiences with this as an integrated part of their viewing experience? Several studies have shown audiences are often using second screens to engage with the content that they're watching on multiple fronts. They're doing this by looking up researched associate IP, for instance, by looking for more information on future production, on the next episodes, on the cast, on reviews, on products that they may have seen in the programs or advertisements. This presents an opportunity for both content creators and marketers. Social media is becoming an entertainment source unto itself. And the time spent on social media is almost as equivalent to the time spent watching traditional entertainment. So that means that the importance of this trend cannot be underestimated. Audiences are more than just those watching our programming. Producer Ava Carvonen said it best. She said audiences that are engaging on any level are an audience. Whether it's through social media, through crowdfunding, through social review sites, all these methods equal to time spent with content, even if it's not the way that we like to traditionally think of it. They're engaging with our content at any level, so they're our audience, and their time is very valuable, of course. This idea is at the heart of the concept of social capital. It is becoming an essential part of content creation and curation. The relationships and communications with our audiences are becoming more varied and reciprocal. In Chapter 2, we look at the future of entertainment. The pandemic has provided us with avenues to create, produce, and distribute differently, and perhaps in a more inclusive way. In 2021, traditional artists were forced even further into multimedia practices, immersive technology that pushed its limit to entertain us, and the metaverse, of course, blew up in cultural consciousness thanks to Facebook, or Meta. The pandemic incited a generation of practitioners to adopt on-screen formats for their art. The circus arts especially demonstrated incredible agility with hybrid content. The living art, which was not previously part of the screen-based industry, has entered this ecosystem by virtue of going digital. Blurring format lines and silos and disciplines, hybrid content has great potential, especially for traditional mediums like film and television. The connection between the different forms of audiovisual expression that we've witnessed in the recent years have raised the question of the hybridization between contemporary creative processes. The critical success of an animated television series like Arcane, produced by video game publisher Riot Games and broadcast exclusively on Netflix, or the growing use of Unreal Engine, the video game engine behind Fortnite, used for linear creation in cinema and television, shows a growing interrelationship between these professions. But these examples are only the tip of the iceberg. It is proving increasingly difficult to categorize genres, which intertwine from one digital space to another, sometimes belonging to the world of television, sometimes cinema, sometimes immersive interactive experience, sometimes video games, or internet content in the broad sense. The metaverse announced in October further widens this universe of possibilities in terms of audio-visual creation, and it brings up also a ton of questions. Who's the person who creates and who's consuming this content? What cash flows can we consider? How will traditional industries be able to take full advantage of these new opportunities? Lots of examples shed light on some of the hybridization of entertainment promises in terms of creative opportunities. It also raises new questions about the nature of the creative product, its distribution, and its monetization. In this chapter, we also explore ways in which gaming, virtual reality, augmented reality can help with learning and education. With Dr. Chris Alexander from Ryerson University, we look at how the use of tech in education can help to raise awareness about inclusion and equity in a natural and immersive manner. Here's an excerpt.
What I enjoy about video games is that playing a video game is like meeting somebody. There is no way that you have no potential to have an impactful interaction with another human being. Think about it. Depends on circumstance, it depends on timing. And one of the games that I felt transformed my classroom experience is a game called Virginia. Now, Virginia has you taking on the role of a female FBI agent, Black, who is tasked with internally investigating another person of color on the FBI force, and it's based on a true story. No spoilers. However, I enjoy that when this game fades in, the players, because the scenario I'm going to give you is I was playing in a classroom of 80 students, and a student, when you wake up, you're looking around and you see your hands. And it's one of the first times that students see hands that look like this in a game. They don't say anything at first, but later on, and this is the scenario from the classroom, we're all playing the game. We know that we are the main character. We're in the passenger seat in a car, and we park at a gas station. We're sitting there. The person that we're investigating walks in to go and buy something or probably pay for gas. We're sitting there, and suddenly we hear a knock on this side. So the player looks over, and there is a car full of 3 to 4 white teens. They stick their middle finger up at you, and they peel off and drive away. And the classroom of 80 laughs. And I say, hold on, pause the game. And everybody pauses the game. And I said, why are you all laughing? And the students were, well, it was funny. Like those guys that just gave the middle finger and they just drove off. That was funny. I was like, I think that this is the first time that many of you experience racism within the context of a video game. The class goes silent and the students are like, you failed to remember what the name of the game is and what time in history this game occurs. It takes place in Virginia. And those kids saw who you were, and they knocked on the glass, gave you the middle finger for no reason whatsoever, and drove off. And then we had a different conversation in the class. Oh my gosh, is that what happens? And I said, yep, it is. And suddenly, were we playing a game or were we sharing an experience?
In Chapter 3, we take a look at the workforce of the future. Keeping up with the latest tech trends is a must for tomorrow's creators, and people wanting to work in the industry will need to upgrade their skill set throughout their careers to thrive. Next generation creators, producers, distributors are entering an ecosystem where technological and social change are the order of the day. On the one hand, rapid digital platform growth, online participatory culture, and recent advances in virtual production have completely changed the way audio-visual content is produced and consumed. On the other hand, movements like Black Lives Matter and Me Too have compelled employers, not just in the audiovisual sector of course, to radically rethink how they interact with stakeholders. To better understand the skill sets needed to succeed in the audiovisual industry of tomorrow, We reviewed the latest industry reports, we talked to stakeholders, and two findings really stand out. So one, next generation candidates will need a high degree of versatility in how they put their hard skills to work. Some directors are taking courses in photo direction to round out their bags of tricks. Screenwriters also script edit or manage screenwriting teams. Versatility will play a very important role in establishing a place in the industry. 2, soft skills. Soft skills are more important than ever. They're remaining the cornerstone of a very sustainable career. Developing interpersonal skills can turn a promising start into a lifelong career. As a bonus, it can help make the audiovisual sector a healthier, more fulfilling industry to work in. So some key skills: openness to diversity and respect for others, communications and collaboration, ability to take criticism, inquiring, and enterprising. In Chapter 4, we look at media economics. The global audiovisual industry is essentially expanding. What will the business models and markets of the future look like? Canada possesses obviously several strengths, and they could be leveraged to compete on the global market. Diverse voices, potential to reach foreign language markets, IP, of course. There are, however, significant challenges to overcome, notably the brain or talent drain that Canada faces. It's not new and it's not surprising, but part of the brain drain problems comes down to Canada's size, density, and relative wage spend. Now, always funny to compare numbers, right? Film and television production in Canada generated an all-time high of 12.2 billion Canadian dollars for the Canadian GDP in 2019. Meanwhile, in the United States, they generated 37.5 billion Canadian dollars in revenues. So 12.2 Canadian dollars in Canada, 37.5 Canadian dollars in the US. So it's no wonder Canadians are leaving for Hollywood and other international markets. Reasons for looking elsewhere are similar to the rationale that we can find in industries like STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Higher pay, more career opportunities, and a wider scope of work available outside of Canada. While there likely won't be any one silver bullet that will stop Canadian brain drain to other markets, creating a more supportive environment in general is part of the solution. Yunju Chang is Executive Director of Cinevolution Media Arts Society, a grassroots, women-led, migrant-led organization with a mission to promote innovation and critical discourse. Well, she said a more supportive industry includes genuine collaboration, creative exchange, and mentorship. Offering spaces to racialized creators to tell their stories and to receive mentorship is crucial, she said. Chang also seen artists straddling the line and taking advantage of remote work while joining international projects. So that means they're staying home and they're working on Canadian productions at the same time. So remote work still has its perks sometimes. Recommendations from the Brock University report, Reversing the Brain Drain, offer actionable insights and ideas for the private sector, government, and post-secondary institutions working in film and television. Their retention ideas include improving and closing compensation gaps by increasing salaries, providing student loan relief, and developing programs that encourage students to explore work options in Canada, and investing in innovation, training, and development. Strategically funding development programs and investing in the next generation of storytellers would open up the industry to a whole new talent pool. It would potentially also attract new audiences. That was a really quick overview of what we have in the 2022 Key Trends report.